Good, good evening, or afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching. Apologies for the slight delay. I had a bit of an issue logging into the channel, but welcome along to the final round of the ISRL Division 4 League. And what a place to end the season here at Sao Paulo. It is technically the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, but we have given it the Brazilian Grand Prix name for this weekend. The championships have been decided. Congratulations to Victor for sealing the Drivers' Championship in the previous race, as well as Alpine for securing the Constructors' Championship. There is still plenty to play for, including the battle for second and third place between Fallen Monkeys and Michael Fures. Only half a point separates them. We have got 11 drivers on the grid for this 18-minute qualifying session, so not a full grid, but we will see. We'll definitely see some good racing, we hope, despite the small number of competitors for this week. We're on board currently with the champion of Division 4, Victor. Sealed it last week, and not going so well at the moment. Decides to have a bit of a Tokyo drift coming through there, and we'll try and rejoin the track in the safest manner possible. Wild Dog coming just past that, thankfully doesn't get distracted by the Alpine. Pretty difficult track, this one. It's an anti-clockwise track. There isn't really much of an opportunity to relax on this track, so a good challenge to end the season for the drivers. I think one of the Ferraris has just had a moment. That would have been Spring, as Wild Dog then sets the first lap, or the first representative lap, a 1:08.9. Philip Marshall then for Haas will try and beat that, and is 2 tenths back from that time. Rusty Orkan, however, has beaten that time by about 7/100ths of a second. So Victor then going to try again after that good drift. It's a 10 out of 10 drift, I'd say, but probably a -2 out of 10 for getting a lap in. So we will go again. They're coming through then from Magulio, and now into Junshao, 51.9 for the middle sector. And now it's the long climb up down the back straight. DRS will be enabled. Wild Dog has improved on that lap, now does a 1:08.6. Victor crosses the line and takes back that provisional pole position by just 3/100ths of a second. Here's Michael Fures trying the medium tyres. The only driver actually going for the medium tyres, the rest opting for the soft compound tyres. Fures, of course, his main aim will be to ensure they're ahead of Fallen Monkeys. Only half a point separates them in that battle for second place. And as you can see, the rain is beginning to come down here. Still spots of rain here, so these laps will be critical. Fures then, across the line they come, goes 5th fastest with a 1:09.1. Racer PNW coming out onto the track. Here is Fallen Monkeys then, trying to get a good lap in before the rain gets a little heavier. There's a couple of drivers who haven't got a lap in yet. Demediek is starting a lap just behind the Red Bull here. Sinful still in the garage at the moment. They want to get out a little in as close as possible. This rain might just crease the track, but if it does get worse, as the Ferrari gets out of the way there, then you won't be able to get a good enough lap time in. So we'll see what happens with that. You can see the rain is coming down now, so we'll see if it just greases the track or makes it damp enough where they'll need to consider intermediates, which are not ideal at all. So Fallen Monkeys then coming across the start-finish straight, and it's a 109.6, and I think that is an indication, potentially. The rain is beginning to hurt these times. Here's Scarlo for Alfa Romeo, as Dominiak does get a lap on the board, so perhaps I spoke too soon there. 108.2 for the Alfa Romeo. Where is the sister Alfa Romeo going to put that? How close can they get? And it's a 1-2 at the moment for Alfa Romeo, 108.0, 2 temps clear. So Alfa Romeo looking very strong in this final race at the moment. Sort of the back end of that Ferrari stepping out slightly as they came through the Descida del Lago. Now, racer P&W is about to come into a bit of traffic as they go through Bica de Pato, through Magulio, and then Jun Xiao might be able to actually get a distant tow here from the Alfa Romeo. That would be Dominiak. But has invalidated, so if there was a tow, it's not going to make a difference now. Sinful's still in the garage. Haven't been able to come out just yet. Philip Marshall's invalidated. A couple of drivers are returning for another outlap, including Victor. Let's watch Wild Dog then. Got to be careful of this. The track there. Wild Dog goes over the curb through the Senna S's there, but keeps the lap is still valid. Is up slightly in the first sector, but would have lost time by running wide there. You saw the Mercedes just understeering. I think it looked like it was going to understeer again on the exit of the Descida del Lago. We'll see what it looks like in the middle sector. Looks pretty neat and tidy for the moment. That's Sprink then, I think, who was slow. But they're on their outlap. Still no sign of Sinful. Racer P&W trying to get a lap on the board as well. Sinful might be starting 11th at this rate, and you saw Wild Dog there having to hesitate on the exit of Jun Xiao. Couldn't get fully on the power immediately. Wild Dog then crosses the line, moves the Mercedes up into third place. Victor's, well, that said it had a poor middle sector there, lost time there, but it hasn't actually completed the middle sector just yet, so we'll see now if there's an improvement, and there is. 2.5 temps, so this rain looks like it's just greasing the track rather than making it damp conditions, so we'll wait and see. Still about 10 minutes of the session to go. Victor crosses the line, retakes that third place from Wild Dog. Racer P&W, I think, has invalidated a second time, and a third time actually, for good measure, so track limits becoming a problem for these drivers. Scarlo then is back out on track. One of the two Red Bulls, I think, are coming out as well. I wonder which one that is. We're on board then with Sprink. Racer P&W has gone back into the pits. And finally, Sinful has made their way back onto the track. Here is Sprink then to cross the line. Does improve on their lap time, but remains in 5th place. Marco Flores is down in 8th, so that strategy to go onto the medium tyres didn't work. Remember, top 10, or those who qualify in top 10, must start on the tyres they do their best lap time on. So whoever qualifies 11th has the advantage of choosing whatever tyres they want. That's a very big improvement there from Flores. But again, remember, they were on the mediums, so makes sense to see such an improvement. Flores then cuts across the pit entry line, fastest way through, sticks to the left hand side and up into P4. So finally, let's watch Sinful then in the Red Bull. Actually, we'll keep an eye on Scarlo. Scarlo trying to improve on their provisional pole time at the moment. Keep an eye on Sinful later on. Dominic is on their outlap, so they'll be starting again. Scarlo, can they move their Alfa Romeo into the 1-minute 7s? If they can find a 10th on this lap. And the answer is yes, they can, up by 0.2 of a second. And first driver into the 1-minute 7s. We'll see if anyone else can do the same. Sinful then coming towards the end of the middle sector. Pops in a 52.1. Now a dash up to the start-finish straight. Might get a distant tape on the Aston Martin ahead, but emphasis on the word distant and emphasis on the word might. Does stick to the left-hand side. Ninth fastest, a 1-minute 9.1. Meanwhile, Dominic is going through a fair bit of traffic, one of which includes their own teammate. The other is a Ferrari, who is on an outlap at the moment. That is Racer PNW, who I think needs to get out of the way. That will have certainly not helped the Alfa Romeo there, and that's Racer PNW, I think, trying to prepare for their own outlap. Benefit for Dominic is they will get a tape on a Ferrari, and does improve lost 0.4, and how much of that was caused by Racer PNW, we shall see. Well, Dog then, back out for another run. Meanwhile, what's going on here with Dominic? Dominic seems frustrated, I think, behind PMW. So we'll go back on board with Wild Dog, who decides to do their best Valtteri Bottas impression and go through the grass. Easily done on these conditions. Meanwhile, Fallen Monkeys is on a much better lap and moves themselves up into 9th place, ahead of their teammate. Here's Racer PNW. Watched on board there as they came through Jun Xiao. I saw the front right locking slightly there for Racer. I think maybe the conditions are getting a bit too much, and that's a 1:11.7. That's not ideal. Wild Dog invalidates, but I think they're on a lap anyways. Didn't mention Michael Fiore's apologies. Moves up into P2 with a 1.8 flat. Victor a 10th behind. Just a lot to really focus on at the moment, must be said. Here's Rusty Oil Can for McLaren. It's worth mentioning Aston Martin, actually. Aston Martin and Mercedes fighting for the combined Constructors' Championship this week. Not much separates them. Only one Aston Martin and one Mercedes in this session. Fallen Monkeys has just improved on their lap. Goes up into 7th place. They're starting to make some moves at the field, so there's still a lot of grip to find, even with the a slight bit of rain that's appearing. Scarlo is about to start their next flying lap. Wild Dog's going for yet another lap as well. Rusty Oil Can down in the middle sector, not by much. Down the back straight comes Oil Can, doesn't improve and remains in P8. Let's watch Scarlo then. Through the first sector, doesn't improve. Long way down. Might be on a cool down lap. Anyways, and that's Wild Dog out. We caught that right at the best time there. Wild Dog has crashed on the entry into Ferradura. And Wild Dog's out of the session. Maybe they are starting to struggle in these conditions. But Wild Dog will start no higher than 5th place then for the race. Philip Marshall then saw, by the way, Sinful retiring from the session. I think perhaps maybe the rain's starting to come down. Sprink retiring as well. Not coming out again. Let's see what Philip Marshall will do. Slightly up in the middle sector. At half a tenth. There's an Alfa Romeo in the way. That will be Dominiak, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Crosses the line. Does improve slightly, but needs to find a couple attempts more if they want to improve on that lap time. Scala was invalidated yet again. So we'll watch the sister Alfa Romeo as they power down the Retroposta and down slightly in the first sector. It's not a lot of time really to find in that first sector unless you mess up really the center S's. So it's all really down to the middle sector. That's the biggest way to find time, really. Unless you're able to get a tow from any of the other cars, then you can improve in the middle and final sector as well. They are all beginning to retire from the session. Dominiak runs wide through Jun Xiao onto the curb. They have improved in the middle sector, but they're still down on their personal best. Can they find a bit more time in this final sector, potentially to move themselves up into third? The answer is no. Philip Marshall again finds another 0.04 of a second, but not enough to move them out of ninth. Racer P&W will start from 11th, that's guaranteed. So they'll have a fresh choice of tyres to decide. The rest will be guaranteed to start on the soft compound tyres. Here's Michael Flores then. He's up by a tenth and a bit. Potentially could be on course to snatch pole position from Scalo here. If they can find just a little bit more time in the middle sector here, but this will be close. Can the Aston Martin driver pull off a good final sector? The answer is they do, but still a tenth down from Scalo. So Scalo holding on, and Scalo's found 3 tenths in the middle sector. So Scalo really is on a better lap here. Or are they? The answer is, well, I thought they were, but they're back into the pits. What about Dominiak then? As they come across the start-finish straight, can they improve on the P4? The answer is no. Philip Marshall is in, but there is your provisional pole sitter then. That is Scalo, who will start the Brazilian or Sao Paulo Grand Prix from pole position. 10th clear from Michael Flores, Victor in third. Dominiak P4. Flores crucially ahead of Fallen Monkeys in their battle for P2 in the Drivers' Championship. So we'll wait for the Philip Marshall, I think, is just in the pits. But then we will gear up for the race. Then, yeah, 10th and a bit then separates the top two. Victor, another 10th behind. Dominiak, another 10th behind. Wild Dog, we saw crashing out in Ferradura. Just crucially keeps ahead of Sprink by a couple of thousandths. Oil Can not too far behind as well as Fallen Monkeys and Philip Marshall. So P&W will have the advantage of choosing whatever tyres they fancy. Will that help the Ferrari driver elevate up the field in this 11-car race? We will see what happens in this final ISRL race for Division 4 before we head into 2022. Been a pretty long season, this one, must be said. But definitely has been exciting, to say the least. So it looks like much better weather in comparison to qualifying. See, the sun is out, so that will have an impact on tyre temperatures and tyre wear. And already someone has started a bit early, so not a lot of time to decide on race strategy. We'll see if that will have an effect. As we head into this session. Oh no, now finally we have that. So I was thinking there, why was the counter so quick? But now that one is the one that makes sense. So 20 seconds to go then, before we start round 16. And here we are then, formation lap underway, and Scarlo will lead the field away. We should also mention Goran joined earlier this session. I think it was during qualifying. They've started, so top 10 of course stunning on the soft tyres. No one did a lap on the medium tyres. That's worrying signs there. Goran is still there but hasn't moved off the start-finish straight. That could be worrying. But none of the drivers then choosing to go. Goran finally gets underway, but they're going to be a long way behind. Race of P&W has gone as well. Goran has left the session, so that top 10 are going to be waiting for a while there, it must be said. I think someone's had a spin as well. That is Sprink and the Ferrari, already a bit way down, but I can find what I was going to say. All of the drivers, of course, top 10 have to start on the soft tyres. No one qualified on the medium tyres. And Racer P&W, who did qualify outside the top 10, still choosing to go for the soft compound tyres for this session. Scarlo wants to get onto the grid very quickly. What Scarlo doesn't realise is they're going to be waiting a very long time for the others to join, because as you can see there is someone's at a spin. That is Racer P&W. So they'll be adding excess heat and wear on today's tyres by those spins. And you can see that 10 of the cars already lined up on the grid, but they're waiting for 2 more. Racer P&W taking a long time to join. So that's going to have such a huge effect. Now, what is going on here? That is Goran, who's deciding to go. Now, I'm not quite sure what's happened here. Racer P&W slots themselves 11 in. Goran, for some reason, is already going, and I wonder if there's a glitch here, because Goran has left the session. We'll see what's happened. I wonder if that's caused an issue, because now we've got these 11 drivers on the grid. I think this might be a glitch here. Potentially. We will see what has happened. And we could be in a bit of a spot of bother here. Apologies for this. I think Goran has joined, and I mentioned Goran did join late, and there is a known glitch. It's causing a major problem at the moment. Goran is just powering through the track at the moment. And whilst the grid is all lined up, you can see him just going through here. Yeah, and I think there is a glitch, so we might get a lobby restart here. There is definitely indeed a lobby glitch. Goran has already completed 2 laps. Goran has left the session again. Doesn't make a difference, I don't think. I think regardless of what happens here, we're going to need a lobby restart, because they're still lining up on the grid. Now, what has has happened at the moment. Oh, we are finally underway, I think. There we go. Apologies for that, it was a bit overturned, but here we go then. Final race is underway. Scarlo leads them across. One of the Mercedes have gone wide. That looks like Wild Dog. As Scarlo then... Oh, and that's a McLaren out already. That's Rusty Oil Can, who has smacked the suspension, and already a virtual safety car is deployed. I got so overwhelmed by what happened. That race start was so sudden. And Scarlo then... He leads the session. Rusty Oil Can out immediately. But it is Scarlo. He leads the way as we've got a virtual safety car to clear already that McLaren. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Whether or not they Rusty Oil Can spun, or whether or not there was something that happened. Goran, the big gainer, actually, for 4 places at the start, up into 8th place. Fallen Monkeys losing 2 places. Philip Marshall up 2 places. Racer P&W up 2 places. Michael Fures almost, well, took actually a bit of the grass there. Scarlo was going pretty quickly there. You can see they're already going, or at least trying to go. I think they know the virtual safety car's ending, and it has ended. We're back underway then. Michael Fures pulls out slightly to the left-hand side. Potentially trying to look there as there was a contact. That's Demoniac, Wild Dog, and Victor being called up in that. Victor, no front wing as well. So a lot is happening all over the place at the moment. Wild Dog, Rusty Oil Can left the session. You can see the front wing damage there on Wild Dog. I think, no, there isn't. Apologies. But it's absolutely chaos at the moment. I don't know where to even look. So I'll focus back on the battle out in front. Victor has got no front wing, and that's a long way back home. Is there anybody else caught up in that? I'm not quite sure. I think it was between those two. But Michael Fures hunting Scarlo down at the moment. No DRS has been enabled. Won't get until the 3rd lap. Demoniac is following closely behind. Meanwhile, Fallen Monkeys is making a place up on Goran then. So Goran, remember, has left the session. Despite that start, they're not even there. The fall back in line. Scarlo gets the fastest lap of this race. DRS will now be enabled. Wild Dog making their way up the field, so presumably no damage as they pass Sinful here. Scarlo, a bit squirmy on exit. Furious trying to find a way fast. He won't find a way through the entry into the Siga del Lago. Wild Dog now gets ahead of the other Mercedes of Goran here. I don't think Goran, if they are 100% in their session, chances are they won't stay in it too longer. Victor switches onto the medium tyres and a new front wing. They'll be praying for a safety car because Victor is already almost a lap down. As you can see, Scarlo is coming through the end of the middle sector. Victor is just coming out of the pit now. A lot of work to do in these next 33 laps. Fallen Monkeys gets ahead of Racer PNW. Or not, perhaps, potentially. We'll keep an eye. Gonna keep an eye on this one. This is Michael Fures trying to go down the inside of Scarlo here. And spins and out of this race. And that's the second driver gone. Now, did Fures sort of overcommit there? Did they lose the car? Either way, it's brought out the safety car. And because of that, Fallen Monkeys will now secure 2nd in the Drivers' Championship with that one. Victor does get that safety car they want to catch up to the field, but huge shame for Michael Fures. I'm not sure if that was contact or down to their own accord. Either way, the Aston Martin out, and that's crucial in the Combined Constructors' Championship as well. The Aston Martins will not be scoring points here. The 2 Mercedes are in the points at the moment, so guaranteed then, as long as these next 10 drivers do finish the race, they'll all be scoring points. Racer P&W gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, so not a nice surprise for them when The safety car ends. Now, will any drivers opt to pit in this under this safety car period? Scarlo is looking like they will. Dominiak will stay out, primarily because their teammate pits. Double stacks don't really work. Sprink stays out. Philip Marshall pits, as does Racer PNW. Wild Dog pits. Sinful stays out, as does Goran. Goran, of course, is an AI. The majority of the field are pitting. So it is Dominiak then. He will take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Their teammate will drop down into 5th place. An interesting choice of tyres there. Majority have gone for the medium tyres, but you can see Philip Marshall here on the hard compound tyres. Racer P&W opting for a second set of soft tyres, so committing to a 2-stop strategy there for the Ferrari. But they do have a drive-through penalty to serve, so it's a lot of work they'll need to do if they want to move higher up the grid. Victor, as you can see, is just coming out of the center S's, trying to catch up to the field. Might be able to, actually, because they've all caught up to the safety car now. Safety car then leading them through the field. All 10 cars should actually catch up to each other. Victor is just coming through the middle sector. So we'll see what happens. Safety car should end next lap or so. Racer P&W now gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. They've come back into the pits. Maybe you can't serve a drive-through penalty under safety car conditions. Now opts to put the medium tyres on. Interested by that. Wonder why that's happened then. So Racer P&W will come back out in plumb last. Victor will make their first overtake up the field. Victor will be very glad the championship has been sealed already in Saudi Arabia. If this was the championship decider... No, it wasn't Saudi Arabia last week, was it? Apologies. Either way, I'll be glad they resolved... that championship was clinched last season. Because if this was the case, then Victor would be in a pretty... not too good of a position, shall we say. But Victor has caught the back of the field. And good timing as well. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So it will be Dominiak's job then to back the pack up and basically become the safety car and lead the field away. And I think Dominiak has gone early. The safety car is in. And away we go then on lap 7. We go back racing. It is Dominiak who leads them from Sprink. From Sinful, it was originally Goran, but Goran is being overwhelmed by the majority of the field, hence the ghost carring. Scarlo moves up in a 5th place already, and now will be after Philip Marshall. Philip Marshall having a pretty good restart, actually, and already looking to make a move here on Philip Marshall. Up into 4th place goes the Alfa Romeo past the Haas. Wild Dog moves ahead once again of the other Mercedes into 6th place. Racer P&W pits to serve that drive-through penalty, I presume. Sprink under pressure from Sinful. Philip Marshall, I think, has just had a moment and goes off the track and loses a handful of positions in doing so. Fallen Monkeys is up into 6th place. That's a Mercedes of Wild Dog. And they're thankfully in the race, but off comes the front wing. And not a great situation for them. I think that one they lost all on their own. Dominiak then leading from Sprinks. No DRS enabled for the first 2 laps after a safety car restart. We're on board here with RPM Sinful, trying to keep up with the top 2. on those soft tyres. Remember, of course, the top three haven't made a pit stop just yet. Michael Furious leaves the session, disappointing for them. There is, can't see who that is, that's Scarlett, apologies. Couldn't see with that notification. Wild Dog into the pits to change a front wing. Meanwhile, Victor making moves up the field, up into 6th place now, ahead of Goran. Meanwhile, Sprinks keeping within the 1 second window of the race leader. We have a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's Racer PNW gone. And what has been a pretty tragic weekend for them has turned into a nightmare. I still wonder if Racer PNW will be under investigation for blocking Dominiak in the pits. Meanwhile, someone made a move somewhere. I think that's Scarlo, who's just moved up ahead of Sinful and up into the podium places. DRS is now enabled. Sprink then looking to get ahead of Dominiak. Now the DRS will be enabled. See them draining the battery. Can he make a move through? Desiga Delago breaks late and hits the back of Dominiak. Philip Marshall is into the pits for a new front wing. Medium tyres for them. Sprink then moving out of that DRS window. Quite sure why I'm getting all the notifications. I can't see some of the some of the timings at the moment. Should mention, and whilst that happened, Sprink did get a 3-second time penalty for multiple track warnings. This is the 2 Red Bulls. Here is, so Fallen Monkeys will be looking to get past Sinful. Will Sinful be kind? Looks like that is the case. If not, it was fairly straightforward for Fallen Monkeys up into the podium positions because Sprink has pitted. Finally getting rid of those soft tyres and a new front wing as well. That might be why they pitted slightly early. Sinful then down in 4th place. Dominiak still leads this race from Scarlin, now up into 2nd place after being well away from the field after that lap 1 contact, but they're now back up into 2nd place. Looks like nothing happened really. Sinful will look to try and stay with Fallen Monkeys to get DRS because Victor is closing up to the back of the Red Bulls. We shall see what they'll do. Sinful, of course, does need to actually make a pit stop, so won't make a difference. Victor is right on the back here of Sinful. I don't think Sinful has the grip to keep the Alpine behind, but I think Sinful could do a number for their teammate here by keeping Victor behind. He defend the inside line here. Victor just sails through. I'll tell you what, fair play to Sinful. Defends nicely, breaks later, and holds on to 4th place. So Victor will try down the back straight here, if they can. Trying to deploy the ERS. Sinful really helping Fallen Monkeys here. This is good defensive driving from Sinful. And this will allow Fallen Monkeys to get away for the moment. Good team game by Red Bull here. Really inheriting the lessons learned in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that happened just 7 days ago. Meanwhile, Scarlo beginning to take time out of their teammate in that battle for 1st and 2nd. Sinful having a pretty slow exit through Jun Xiao there, and Victor may not need another opportunity to take it. Goes onto the grass as well. Dips a wheel onto that. Sinful, can they defend again? Once again goes wheel to wheel. This time, once again, Sinful holds on to 4th place. So Victor seems to struggle with straight line speed at the moment, it must be said. And if they're not, well, Sinful's got plenty in hand as well as a good amount of braking to keep ahead. This is really hurting Victor though, because Fallen Monkeys is taking, well, is 1.5 seconds or 1.6 seconds quicker per lap, and Victor is really being held up here. But this is really good driving. Sinful is the Sergio Perez of ISRL Division 4 at the moment. Fallen Monkeys, who now can be happy. They've secured second in the Drivers' Championship because, of course, Michael Fures retired earlier on. That's what caused the safety car initially. Domeniak finally does make a pit stop then. So Scarlo takes of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Here goes Victor again. Sinful. Can they do enough to keep ahead? And once again, Sinful keeping ahead. This time they do make contact. Sinful's not making it easy for Victor here. Victor needs to find another way through. Can they do it down the Retroposta? Does go wheel to wheel here. Can he scoot round the outside? The answer is no. Goes off the track. He's got to give that place back. Sinful keeps ahead. How frustrated must Victor be at this moment? Sinful is still ahead on those 12-lap-old tyres. Meanwhile, a couple of drivers did pit, by the way. And I think... Who was it that... I can't remember. I think a couple of drivers did pit, and I missed it, so apologies. I'm very focused on this battle at the moment. I think Goran was one of them who joined Domeniak in the pits. Domeniak back in 5th place. We'll soon have to catch up on this battle, must be said. Victor then. Fourth time the charm, is it? This time Sinful. This time Victor though takes the inside line. And not going to work this time. Can Sinful go round the outside? The answer is no. This time Victor muscles their way through the Red Bull, and Sinful's brave defence here is potentially could be over, but Sinful does have DRS, and look at the speed of the Red Bull here. Just cruises back past Victor here. I wonder if Victor is running just a bit too much downforce here, because that seemed like a very easy response here. Victor trying to go round the outside, but once again can't make it through. Sinful is doing a really sterling job at the moment to keep Victor behind. This is really not what Victor needs. Meanwhile, their teammate up in second place at the moment. Might be looking to close in on Scarlo. Gap 5.5 seconds out in front. Interested to see if they'll go to the end of the race on those tyres. Once again, now Victor has a much better exit through Jun Xiao. This one could be a bit more straightforward. They get very close to each other, it must be said. DRS enabled. And this time, I think Victor's done enough. But the question is, Sinful, we've seen the straight line speed, but doesn't have the grip through the centre S's. And I think finally Victor has cleared the Red Bull. And nothing much there that Sinful could have done. I think those soft tyres are done now, but Sinful, sterling job there, keeping Victor behind for so long, and it's built such a gap between themselves and Fallen Monkeys. That was super impressive there by the Red Bull driver. And now Victor goes chasing after Fallen Monkeys then. Their title contender in the championship. Scarlo, meanwhile, is gapping the field at the moment by about 0.3 of a second per lap. Gaps seem to stabilise everywhere at the moment. You can see pretty long numbers of gaps at the moment. Sinful is still staying out, must be said, so must be very confident in their tyre management. Six and a half seconds then separating the top 2. Victor will be looking to close in on Fallen Monkeys here these next 20 laps. I wonder how many more laps Sinful can do at the moment. I mean, if they pit now, they're going to come out probably in about 6th place behind Sprink, I would say. Sinful finally now makes the decision to pit after 15 laps. It's a good effort from Sinful, must be said, for that defence. So that will move Dominiak into 4th place. And Sinful will be very glad to change off those soft tyres, which really struggled for grip. On go the medium tyres. And I presume Sinful might try to the end of the race on those. There is the Ferrari then, so Sinful hasn't cleared them, which I think was understandable. Sinful comes back out in 6th place on fresh medium tyres to go and chase after the Ferrari in 5th place. Well, the gap between 3rd and 2nd not really going down much. Wild Dog gets a 3-second time penalty, so it's 6 seconds now. Here's Philip Marshall. We saw go wide very early on, having to pit. Don't know if there was damage or not. We'll see. Trying to make their first overtake in a while this race. Problem is it's on Goran, who's disconnected. But this will hopefully be a fairly straightforward pass for the Haas car. That might be one of the easiest overtakes that Philip Marshall will make. And moves up into 7th place. And next car will be Sinful, who is 7 seconds back and on fresher tyres, so that might be a bit more of a challenge. Scarlo, meanwhile, very happy out in front, 7.5 seconds between themselves and Fallen Monkeys, yellow flag, and that is Wild Dog. And a safety car has been deployed. Wild Dog, I didn't see it, but crashed at the centre S's. That suddenly changes the race here at the moment. Scarlo going to take advantage of this and take a second pit stop then. Now will others do the same? Sprint gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That is that seems to be a normal thing for Ferrari at the moment. Ferrari seems to be having a habit of getting drive-through penalties under safety cars this race. So away they go. The others do come into the pit stops as well. All the Monkeys then, they're all changing for fresh mediums. Sprink is done with this race. I wonder why that is. That's 2 Ferraris then out, but Sprink deciding they've had enough. So we're down to 7 drivers. So this will bring the pack together. Michael Flores in the chat. Not sure what happened. Well, we saw a crash that saw them out. Again, whether that was contact or a spin, we don't know. But Flores will finish the season in 3rd. Not a bad run for them. So now we wait for the safety car. And someone's gone off. That was the Ferrari, I think, like I said, just retired. As the safety car comes through, Philip Marshall will try and catch up the field. This will bring all the field back into play. So they should all go to the end of this race, except maybe Goran. Goran might have to stop again. So will the safety car come in at the end of this lap? They are just making their way. So safety car coming in then. Here we go. Fallen Monkeys then leading this race. And away we go then for the restart on lap 21. Fallen Monkeys leads then from Victor. Victor and already Scarlo moving up the field down the inside into the center S's. And Scarlo immediately makes the move here on Victor up into second place already. But can't make a move on Fallen Monkeys just yet. Meanwhile, Philip Marshall is ahead of Goran Proctor. Goran Scarlet then. No DRS, of course, enabled for the next three. Next 2 laps, apologies. Victor then keeping an eye on Scarlo. May want to look to get that position back. Meanwhile, Dominiak is on Sinful here. Up into 4th place. Goes the Alfa Romeo. Will be chasing then Victor. Scarlo not quite ahead just yet. Victor gets a 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial. That could be hugely bad for the time being. Meanwhile, this is Victor. Was that Dominiak then trying to get ahead? Or was it Victor trying to get ahead of Scarlo? There's an Alfa Romeo and Alpine involved. My eyes missed it. But Scarlo looks much closer to Fallen Monkeys here. DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap. But Victor, crucially, with that 3-second time penalty, needs to hope that the rest of the field gets some. Or they can clear the top 2 and try and get rid of that 3-second time penalty. DRS, there you can see, was enabled. Scarlo pulled out to the left-hand side there just to keep the the Red Bull on their toes. Now DRS enabled, how close can Scarlo get to Fallen Monkeys? Gaining and gaining, not quite enough yet. Meanwhile, Philip Marshall saw that was very close to the other Red Bull, so both Red Bulls under pressure at the moment. Scarlo keeping Fallen Monkeys very honest here as well. Gets a much better exit there And can they go round the outside? But goes down the inside of Bigadapado. Don't often see overtakes there, but that is a good move for Scarlo, who takes the lead of this Grand Prix. Now the only problem that for Scarlo is on this lap, Fallen Monkeys will get DRS, but goes wide, and that could give an invitation here to Victor. But Victor is under pressure from the Alfa Romeo of Demoniac here and crashes. Now I think they did they hit the wall, because I saw them, and that's the safety car deployed. 5-second penalty to Victor for a contact with Fallen Monkeys. Goran is back in the pits, but I think Demoniac hit the wall. Oh, it would also help if I actually didn't mute my mic. That would have helped. I think I was talking then. I was saying there was 15 laps to go, and there definitely is not 15 laps to go. There is 13. Maths was never my strongest point. Scarlo into the pits then. Now that's interesting. So is Victor and Philip Marshall now. Victor might make sense. He might have, because remember you saw there was a 5-second time penalty for contact with Fallen Monkeys. Wonder if there was front wing damage as well. Well, there's the 5-second delay. Or 5-second penalty, not 5-second delay. But you know how it is. But they're going for the soft tyres. That makes sense. So they're going to be on the aggressive at the end. The two Red Bulls, on the other hand. So the two Red Bulls then, 1 and 2 for the moment. So safety car leads them away for a third time this season. 6 drivers left. There was, to be fair, only 12, but we've lost 6 already. Now what's going on here with the two Red Bulls? We're trying to... See Scarlet there just weaving. Goran, despite being AI, is still in this race. And I wonder if they will enable Goran to get points, because they have been AI throughout the whole season. So safety car then in this lap So it will be Fallen Monkeys who's got to lead the rest of the pack away. But choosing to leave it late. We've seen that from Red Bull. Now he's gone. Sinful trying to keep behind. Scarlo on those soft tyres. Will be looking for a move, trying to go round the outside. Well, broke late round the outside, but has found a way through here. Scarlo up in the second place immediately. That's one Red Bull down. The other one coming through. Sinful, however, not going to make this easy. We've seen the straight line speed of Sinful at the moment. And there's a wheel bang there. Off the track goes Scarlo. He keeps ahead. I think I'd say that's fair. I think Scarlo didn't gain much there. Now Philip Marshall looking to try and get a move. Meanwhile, Scarlo going to pursue. Meanwhile, Scarlo, this is Scarlo battling for the lead here. Both Red Bulls under pressure. And has Scarlo got enough momentum? Scarlo then down the retroposter. And this is a fairly straightforward. I think Fallen Monkeys knew that move was coming. And Scarlo, for the third time this season, takes the leader's race as Sinful spins. Sinful has spun on the exit. I think had contact there. And Sinful, what a shame for them. Still in the race, but down in 5th place at the moment. But Scarlo leading this race. Philip Marshall will be the next one to try and get ahead. Philip Marshall might be more concerned of what's behind them than in front of them, because Victor is now behind them, but I think Philip Marshall's much closer to Fallen Monkeys here. Scarlo sets the fastest over the race, well clear of this field here. But not close enough to make a move just yet. Philip Marshall pursuing the Red Bull. Wants to take 2nd place. Runs a bit over the curb there, must be said. And Philip Marshall ahead of Fallen Monkeys, apologies. Victor now trying to get ahead of Fallen Monkeys as well. Kind of pumps their way through, but gets ahead. Sinful into the pits. Meanwhile, Scarlo comfortably leading this race. Victor now has had a pretty Victor trying to pursue Philip Marshall here. Remember, of course, Victor has that 3-second time penalty. Can Philip Marshall defend this one? Already hits the inside line, but Victor can't get through just yet. Now what about the Retroposter? Philip moves to the left. Victor's going to try and hook round the outside, and just about gets it. And Victor moves up in a second place. Philip Marshall can't really fight that one back. All Monkeys down in fourth. Now what about Fallen Monkeys has got back into DRS range of Philip Marshall here. Scarlo sets another fastest lap of this race. All Monkeys is keeping within range here of Philip Marshall. That podium isn't saved just yet. Victor, of course, has got that 3-second time penalty, so needs to clear them quickly. Victor might try and challenge for the lead, but got a lot of work to do. All Monkeys losing time down the back straight. Fallen Monkeys still has DRS. Philip Marshall's got to watch themselves. Victor's almost cleared these two out of that 3-second window. I think the gaps are stabilising now. We've got, well, 3 laps to go. And for Scarlo, he led from pole. He's had to take the lead of the race about 3 times. But looking on course for a final victory. Alfa Romeo. Fallen Monkeys. Trying to keep Philip Marshall occupied. Could Fallen Monkeys mount a final charge towards this race? So, I think had DRS there on that occasion. Does do. So it keeps within that 1 second window. Time is running out for the Red Bull driver. Like I mentioned, they have secured second, but they would love to finish off the rest of the season with a final podium to commemorate that second place. But Marshall, I think, is beginning to struggle now. Victor is catching Scarlo, but I think is going to run well out of laps to mount a challenge and then clear that 3-second window. At the moment, Victor on course for that second place despite that 3-second penalty. Ball and Monkeys then. We're on the final lap here. Ball and Monkeys is mounting a last charge here. Philip Marshall defends the inside. Ball and Monkeys try to go around the outside. One last attempt surely, unless final lap here, but Ball and Monkeys doesn't get the best exit out of the center S's. And may have to wait till the back straight. Meanwhile, we'll keep on board with Scarlo. As they come from Scarlo across the line then. If I could put it on the right one, that's a let's try that. Scarlo then to cross the line to win the final race of Division 4 and winning the Brazilian Grand Prix. Victor crashes at the end but takes P2. Philip Marshall will hold on to that P3 from Fallen Monkeys. Goran, I think, has been AI for the majority of the race, but will finish in 5th place ahead of Sinful in 6th. Fallen Monkeys takes 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. What a way to end the season. Goran then ironically gets driver of the day with that. There is the finale then. Alfa Romeo finished 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. But there is the finale then. Scarlo win and fastest lap. Victor P2, Philip Marshall P3, Fallen Monkeys P4, Goran P5, Sinful P6, the only 6 that finished, the rest retiring earlier on. But that is the end of it then. So, the end of ISRL Division 4 for 2021. I'm sure we'll be back for next season and next year. But that is it. Thank you very much, guys, for a remainder of the season. I hope you have a good rest of the Christmas and New Year, and we will see you next time. Take care.